I made a big mistake. So when I decided to transition, I did so through my general practitioner, my doctor, the person I go see when I'm sick. As is their custom, he made me go to psychiatric professionals and get a diagnosis of gender dysphoria, even though I had been openly non-binary since I started seeing him. This should have been a giant red flag. What you want is a doctor, if you're transitioning, who operates under the informed consent principle, which is, I'm a grown-ass adult, I know that I'm trans, I shouldn't need to prove it to you, give me my boob candy. This didn't happen. I had to jump through hoops, it took months, and finally, I achieved my goal. And my doctor was 100% on board and said, absolutely, let's get this done. I was then informed that even though I have a lifelong fear of needles, sometimes fainting and passing out during blood draws, I would need to learn to inject myself. I asked, why are we not giving me pills for estradiol? And I was told that's fallen out of vogue, that nobody's doing that anymore. That it's injections or patches, or implants are coming, but that's down the line. And I said, well, why can't we do patches then? And the answer was, well, your insurance, you'll have to go out of pocket on those patches, and they're kind of expensive, so you'll need to inject yourself. And being raised Catholic, I thought, of course the thing I want comes with this horrible ordeal. Why wouldn't it? Anything worth having should, right? Right? Proving my existence and showing my real self to the world, of course that would hurt. Why wouldn't it? I will admit there was a part of me that was thinking, well, cis women have to go through a horrible ordeal during puberty, so maybe this is just my version of that. The mistake I made is that I was my doctor's first transition. I made many other mistakes, but that was the big one. And I assumed that nobody else would take me, that, who else would I see? If I had to go see a specialist, I don't know that my insurance would cover it. I knew that my person was willing to transition me, so why make waves? Why cause problems if I'm going to get what I want? And so for months, I stuck myself with these horrible needles, 8 months, roughly. The first 6 of which, I couldn't even go on testosterone blockers. It was just estrogen, and it was an incredibly low dose. I didn't know this at the time. And they didn't even give me a good injection site either. They taught me to inject myself in the back, rear upper left butt cheek, and I'm right-handed, and that I can't reach back there with the plunger, so I had to do this all with my offhand, and it was just a nightmare. So injecting myself with no testosterone blockers for 6 months, and I see progress being made. You can see, when I start, I look one way, I start to see some facial feminization, I start to see some breast development, and then as time goes by, it all fades away. And it's frustrating because sometimes that's during 1 week. I would take my injections on Wednesday, and by Saturday or Sunday, I would start to feminize a little bit, and by the next Wednesday, the time of my next injection, it would all be gone. But even on a macro level, on a big scale, I would see feminization in pictures and in my face in the mirror, and it would just start to vanish. After 6 months, I was finally given testosterone blockers, and I was really excited. I was like, okay, well, this is going to be it. If just estrogen fighting with my natural occurring testosterone, of course I would kind of go back and forth, which being non-binary, you'd think I would dig, but it was kind of a nightmare. And again, I saw a little progress, and it all slid back. I could get, there's my old face again. Here's dude face. Here's Joe's face. And he's dead. That guy's dead. That guy was never real. So, just about every trans person I talked to during this period kept saying, oh, don't be your doctor's first transition. And I was like, oh, it's fine. I'm sure it's fine. The arrogance of me. It wasn't just arrogance, though. I was too polite to tell my doctor I thought they were wrong. It wasn't just me going, I'm sure this is great. It was, I'm too timid and too scared to go do something else. I still haven't told my doctor what I did next. What I did was I went to my nearest Planned Parenthood and talked to them, and immediately they looked at me. You're on what dose? This is gonna happen slowly. But we are more than octupling my dose of both estradiol and spironolactone. And I don't have to take injections. The indignities of transitioning are many, and my lesson from me to you, don't add to them by being your doctor's first transition patient.